Hey everyone, it's Kogi from creativekogi.com and welcome to the first in the series of Creative Kogi Finds. Today I want to talk to you about yarn that I found at my local wool shop. It's called Alize. In fact, I thought it was Alize, but I had to Google to listen to the pronunciation. So it's Alize. This is the puffy fine color, and I think it also comes in a puffy which is a little bit thicker. And this yarn is not local, it's not South African. It is made in Turkey and it's produced by a company called, can you see that? Yuntex. Okay, so it's a 100-gram ball. It's relatively inexpensive. And the reason why I wanted to show this to you is that this is a great project that you can also do with your kids. So it is really great to help them practice their pincer grip and also then to strengthen those finger muscles. So my 2-year-old at the moment is sticking pegs around in a bowl to practice the pincer grip. This might be a little bit complicated for her to work with, but my 5-year-old can easily do it. Now, given the times that we are in and with kids getting bored at home, school not happening every day, etc., this would be a lovely project for your kids to get involved in. So I'd say 4 to 5 years. 5-year-olds will be awesome, and they can finish up the project in no time and also wear the end product. Okay, so what is it that we want to make? So I bought this yarn to make a scarf, but the more I look at it and the more I feel it, I think it's going to be an awesome yarn for baby blanket. So my brother and his wife are going to have a baby this year in October. I think it's October, early November, and I think this is going to make an awesome gift. So how am I going to measure the length of that baby blanket? All you need to do is measure the length of your loops. That's it. So this is a very small ruler. It's only 15 centimeters, but it's what fits within my screen here. So I just wanted to show you, if I was doing a 15 centimeter length blanket, I would measure 15 centimeters like this. I'm obviously going to do something bigger, 1 meter by 1 meter, and so I will measure accordingly. Now, for the purposes of this video, I want to just do 10 loops, okay, just to show you how to create those stitches. Now, the one thing I didn't show you on the label is that you don't need a crochet hook and you don't need knitting needles. Now, this is all very strange for me because I like both my crochet hook and my knitting needles, but this is something you do with your fingers. That's it. Now, this yarn has been around in South Africa, in my local wool shop for about 3 weeks or so. I was wanting to do a video, but I had a little bit of a burn incident with my hands and I was a little bit too vain, so I didn't want to do the video then. Now, let me show you what I'm doing. As with any blanket, you want to work away your tail so it doesn't open. This yarn is literally, the loops are stitched together. You see here? There's it here. You can see this bit of thread, right? I'm literally going to cut the thread in between the loops. And what I want to do is create a tail. And the reason why I want this tail is that when I'm done with the blanket, I can work that tail away in and secure the ends. Now, is that okay? No, I think one more. Obviously what you are comfortable with, because I do want to thread this onto a needle and be able to work this away. I think that is sufficient. Right, let's clear up the space and let's get to it. Now, I said to you that I'm only going to work with 10 just because it fits nicely in the view. But obviously you will measure to size whether you are making a scarf, a shawl, or a blanket. I think this one is definitely going to be a blanket, and when I'm done, I will of course post it on the Creative Kogi Facebook page and also on Instagram, on my Instagram page, which I don't often remember to do. So right, then I'm going to count 10. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm working with and an even number of stitches here. Okay, and in fact, I want to do a variation of a stitch. So I'm actually going to work with an odd number of stitches. I'm going to work with 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll show you why just now. So there's 11 loops that I have. I'm now going to take the next loop, which is my 12th loop. Now this bit here stays firm on your lap, on the table, however you hold your work, okay? It is this bit that's attached to the ball that moves from right to left and left to right. So I'm going to show you the first stitch, and literally you take this bit here and you take it to the back. So now we're working behind, and all you do is you pull it through the loop, and I'm straightening it as I go, just making sure the front is straight and the back is straight, okay? And literally place behind, pull through, place behind, pull through. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? Place behind and pull through. And I'm literally creating what looks like a knit stitch. Okay, so that's straight, yes. Now try not to miss any loops. Make sure you're catching all the loops. If you miss it, I think at the end of each row, just check that you haven't missed it. Because if you go too far ahead, then it's quite a lot to undo, and that's just very sad that you undo all that work. So you're literally working with your fingers and threading through, and I think it's so simple. The kids will absolutely love to do this. Such an easy project, and you get the results in no time at all. Look how fast this works. I mean, I've just done now one row, and already I've created, look, if I was crocheting, I would not create that height, really, or knitting. So you're literally just pulling through. There's no need for a hook or a needle. Now this is just one variation, and I want to show you again this label. On the label here is a tiny little picture. There we go, showing you this particular stitch. Now, the only negative I have about this is that there are no instructions, and I think at least there could have been instructions printed on the inside. So you basically left to figure it out yourself. So I do hope this video actually gives you some guidance on how to do it, but also just to show you that you can get really creative with this. Now remember, I said this stays up front, and it is this bit that works from back or from side to side. Now I want to show you something quickly. So I have here a project. I'm making a jersey for my son. So this is a jersey for Matthew, and I want to show you two stitches here actually. So here I have my knit one, purl one rib, okay, and you'll see that my edge is a knit stitch, although it's not a very neat knit stitch, but it's a knit stitch. And then I've got knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, working all the way to the other end. And here I've just got, there's a bit of fluff there. Here I've got a knit. So you can see I've started with a knit and I've ended with a knit, okay? And that's why when I was doing this, I said, oh wait, let me do an odd number of stitches, because I want to have a knit end and a knit end here, and then have a purl knit, okay, to the end. Now this is another stitch that I'm knitting. This is a moss stitch. This is actually a double moss stitch, but you kind of understand the concept, where on the one side you go knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and if you end with a say knit, then you start the next round with a purl. Okay, so we can create those stitches just using your fingers, and this is how easy it is. So I'm bringing this back to work now from left to right. Here's my first loop, and I'm going to work through the back and pull through. So that's essentially my knit stitch, okay? Now I bring this to the front, okay? And instead of going from the back to the front, I now place this on the front, and then I pull from the front to the back. Now let's do a few more so I can show you the full effect. I now go to the back and I do a knit. I come to the front and pull from the front to the back. Now, I don't know if you are able to catch that, so let me just go very slow. To the back, right, and pull from the back to the front. Bring this whole bit to the front, place over, and then pull from the front to the back. So this end here, these loops here are always the loops that are up at the top here. Now have a look at this. Can you see this? Can you see? I've created a knit, purl, knit, purl. So this is essentially a rib kind of stitch. Now why I like this is because if I turn it over, I have the same kind of effect in the back, which is the knit, well, purl, knit, okay? And that creates, look. But if I stayed with the initial knit stitch, then all I have is just a line. And then the back of your scarf or shawl or blanket is just going to have lines in the back rather than have stitches. And I think I do like these stitches. Now, let's just finish this quickly, okay? So that was my purl stitch, which was worked from the front. So now I'm going to do my knit stitch. I was a little concerned also that I wouldn't know when to work the front to back. So if I stopped in the middle of a row, and it happens when you have kids and you have a million things going on, that you often can't finish the entire row before you stop. So I was worried that if I stop in the middle of a row, then I wouldn't know what stitch is next, what stitch to work next. But actually, once you get going, you'll realize very quickly which is your front and back stitches, or which is your sort of knit and purl stitches. And immediately I know this one that looks like a knit was worked through the back, so it was pulled through the back. So then I know that this next one will then be pulled through to the front, like this, through the front. And so there we go. Remember not to miss any loops. Be very careful and just double check that you haven't missed any loops. I haven't, which is great. Okay, and look at that nice effect. Can you see it? How cool is that? Okay, so this moss stitch that I told you about, so this was a knit stitch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with a purl stitch and then move it to the back and pull through. So now wherever it looks like this knit stitch that should be worked from the back, I then actually work the stitch from the front. So pull from the front to the back. Look at that. And then let's do a few more just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So that was there in the back. Then this one must come forward. Of course, if I was sitting and I had this on my lap, I would probably go a lot faster. What did I do there? Did I go forward? Yes. Then this is back to front. And then this one would be front to back. And then back to front. Now, of course, so this now here, this creates now quite a different effect. And this is almost like a moss stitch effect. It's a little bit denser, I think. So instead of having these long knit rows going up in these long purl rows, now you're kind of breaking it up and having a bit of a pattern. So look, that's a bit of a moss stitch. That's a bit of just a knit one, purl one. I think maybe I'm going to maybe do this moss stitch because it just creates a nice patterned effect. And I mean, you can see me knitting with moss stitch, so I do like it. I'm definitely not going to do this one. This one at the bottom, which is also the picture on the label, here, I think is a little bit on the thin side. And this blanket's so nice. This yarn is so squishy and soft that this effect with the moss or the knit one, purl one rib kind of stitch just creates that much more depth and softness. But yeah, this is essentially how it works. That simple. Now, I don't want to sit here and do a video with me making the entire blanket or all 11 stitches of it. But I do want to quickly show you how to work away your ends, okay? So let's just do this. So I've done my blanket, I've done my 1 meter by 1 meter, and I am now come to the last row. So what do I do with all these loopy bits? And essentially I move this way. So I move with my right hand, and I am right-handed, and then I take my left loop and I bring it through. So move this way, bring the left loop through. And I keep doing that until I get to the end. And what I'm doing essentially is then creating this nice edge. Can you see that? And that's what I'm doing. I'm literally creating the edge and I'm closing off this blanket. And then I get to the end, and then I'll have this long tail, and I will then just snip in between to create the tail to work it all the way in. So yeah, that's as easy as it is. Just to show you again, it's Soft and Quick Alize Puffy Fine Color. And yeah, it should be available at your local wool shop. It was available at mine, and really not an expensive yarn at all, and just so good to use, so easy. And one of the reasons why I wanted to show this especially to you is because I have kids, and I know how bored they get, and it's so good to practice with that pincer grip, and also just strengthening those muscles, because when they start writing for long hours in school, then they're able to do that, but also just helping with them with their fine motor skills. So there we go. That's it. This is the new yarn. It's exciting to work with, and that's one of Creative Kogi finds. So catch me next time when I will do another find, and actually next time it's going to be something completely different. I want to show you a find for cross stitch, which is one of my other hobbies. So yeah, until next time, please do take care of yourselves, be safe, and chat very soon. Bye.